Hello and thanks for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Veronica Dani-Boy. Let's remind you that it is 78 days to the general election in Nigeria. How ready are you? Today on the program, Benue leaders worried about insecurity in Nigeria as state government tackles Akume Amechi over those behind killings in the state. Atiku Saraki moved to pacify Ekweremadu, federal government to collaborate with Saudi Arabia on refineries revamp. As NBS says, Nigeria imported 4.37 billion liters of petrol in 3 months. And later on the show, Buhari orders troops to wipe out Boko Haram, vows to provide them with the equipment they need. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otisoju and Mayor Akinpelu. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to the program.
Thank you.
Well, Journalist Hangout starts now. Well, Benue State was for a long time in the eye of the storm of raging clashes between herders and farmers in Nigeria. So when leaders from the North Central State express worry about insecurity in Nigeria, they are making such from vantage position. It should be taken seriously. However, a riveting blame game is ensuing in the state over those responsible for killings that have plagued the state. The senator representing Benue Northwest in the National Assembly, Judge Akume, had alleged during an audience with the president that the state government and not militia was behind the protracted violence in the state. In similar fashion, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi claimed that residents and not herdsmen were responsible for the killing of 2 Catholic priests and 17 worshippers at Mbalom in Ngwe East local government area of the state. The state governor, Samuel Otom, has frowned at these claims. He has vowed to drag Akume before the Tiv Traditional Council. But to what purpose is all of the fuss? Let's hear from the governor's spokesperson. Well, we'll bring the details of that to you now. But then, Jide, what do you make of the back and forth going on? Lives were killed in all of this, properties lost, students out of school, and then we are seeing all this back and forth.
You see, the Nigerian politician is a very dishonest person. The Nigerian politician sees the truth and prefers to turn the truth on its head. Amechi saying that Benue people were behind the killing of priests in Mbalom is disgraceful. He's never been there to talk to the people on ground. TVC sent a crew to the place. We spoke to the people on ground. The people mentioned their killers. In fact, it took the Air Force to flush out their killers who not only killed those priests and other people, but remained there. It was the Air Force that chased those people out of the area for the people to regain their land. And we spoke to people. We have the documentary. The people talked about their killers. But some Nigerians have chosen to hold on to barefaced falsehood. Barefaced falsehood. But the way to get the truth is to go to a place.
Yeah.
There's no way you've come to my house to attack me and I won't be able to describe those who came to attack me. I mean, it makes no sense. You can say that Otom has not done enough to stop killings, but you can't say that it is the people who are killing themselves.
Why would they want to do that?
And I'm telling you, men of the 72 Special Forces of the Nigerian Army will be laughing at these politicians because the Nigerian Army has done so well. The Nigerian Army, backed by the Air Force, have done so well to stop the killings in Benue. So when an Akume goes to the president to lie to the president that, oh, protracted killings, when was the last time that you heard that people got killed in Benue? Because MI-35, the killing machine of the Nigerian Air Force, has served justice to the people killing people recklessly in just 2 local governments, Logo and Gwe West. So it was easy for the Nigerian forces to literally encircle these people. And we have reports. All it takes for any Nigerian in this age of the internet is to Google Nigerian army engages killer headsmen in Benue. You will see tons of stories. And we have lost soldiers over this. We've lost many soldiers. They paid with their lives to bring peace to Benue. Because now we don't read those reports anymore. It's not because those people just suddenly stopped killing people. It's because the army sacrificed the lives of its men and officers. It's because the Air Force brought its #1 killing machine, the Mi-35. And the Mi-35, as I said some time ago, does not know ethnicity. It does not know religion. All it does is that with his arsenal, it serves justice and you die. If you confront it, it's the weapon that once the Boko Haram men see it, they start running. I've seen them live, running, because I've gone with the Air Force on missions in the past. So I know the value of that weapon. And they took it there to serve justice to these people. There's something that I want to try and quote, just for the sake of Nigerians, that some people have made up their minds to deceive. 21st May 2018, troops killed 35 killer headsmen terrorizing Benue State. Acting Director of Defense Information announced this. And he said, clearance operation across Gwe West, Logo, and Guma, local government of Benue, made contact with heavily armed headsmen around Lower Benue and a militia camp at Chetaria. The troops engaged the militia and followed the pursuit with Mi-35 helicopter, a ground attack helicopter, of the air component. This led to a large number of them being neutralized. In all, 35 killer headsmen were neutralized and a large number of them escaped with gunshot injuries. In this fight, a soldier was killed, a soldier is missing, and one was seriously injured. So people sacrifice to bring peace to a community. And Nigerian politicians choose to just politicize things. Because in all of this, all of them, they are trying to profit politically from what's going on. Everyone just trying to profit as if there's no God. We do not even fear this God.
When you say profit politically, you need to break that down for people watching to really understand.
See, if I say, if you belong to PDP, and I say you are the one killing people, chances are that some gullible people will believe me. If you belong to, if I actually belong to APC, and you accuse me, a member of the APC, of being the one killing people in Benue, there are some gullible people that will believe you. So this is the thing. Both political parties are trying to gain some traction from the blood of innocent people, and they are now trading. We all know, we know the truth, and we have not finished, because I have facts. We have not finished.
Right.
The IG response team went, after the killing in January, they went to Benue. The IG response team led by Super Cop Abba, and they arrested the leader of the team that killed people on January 1. His name is Alhaji Luga. Abba is probably watching me. They arrested him in Tunga Forest in Nasarawa State. And they confessed that we were the ones who slaughtered people on New Year's Day. And then some politicians will come and say, no, it's a different people. No, why are we like this as a people? Why are we like this? What do we gain?
All right, quickly, let's get, before we come to you, Mayor, let's get the reaction from the spokesperson of the Benue State government.
We watched with shock the comments of Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, on Channels Television last Sunday, 18th November 2018. He alleged that some Benue people were responsible for the killing of 2 Catholic priests and 17 worshippers in Balom, Gwe East local government of the state earlier this year. Yet it is clear that the comments are a deliberate strategy being sponsored by the All Progressives Congress, APC, to change the true narrative on the Benue killings in general and those in Balom in particular. It can be recalled that the APC national chairman, Conrad Adams Oshomole, had also made similar claims. Unfortunately for both APC stalwarts, investigations and interviews conducted by reputable media organizations have revealed without any doubt the killers are Herdsmen militia.
Well, that's the governor's spokesperson there trying to react to the statement made by the Minister of Transportation. And he is saying that is a deliberate strategy to change the narrative of the issues that happened there.
Of course it is deliberate. It is deliberate because election is coming, and part of one of the major factors that will probably influence the election is the issue of security. And when you look at the issue of security, you look at Boko Haram, you look at the activities of the herdsmen, you look at the bandits in Zamfara, and you probably look at those terrorizing passengers along our highways, kidnapping people and all that. So in Benue, the new narrative is that the governor of Benue has moved from APC to PDP. And the issue of because of the activities of the herdsmen and the loss of lives in Benue, that could contribute. It could work against APC, yes, because now the governor has moved to PDP. So I think what Amechi and Okume are trying to do is trying to say, oh, it is not as if we did not handle the security situation properly. It is an ethnic thing. It is people that are killing themselves instead of the killer herdsmen. And like Jide said, it is unfair to trivialize the lives of people who have sacrificed a lot. Because I remember I must have participated more than 5-6 times discussing killer herdsmen on this table. Yeah. So for people to now wake up and try to make it look as if it didn't exist is unfair. Unfair on those who lost their lives, unfair on those who lost their means of livelihood, and above all, it's unfair on our soldiers who made supreme sacrifice trying to bring the situation under control. And our leaders should learn to say things the way they are. If a government promises security, you must be able to give account of what you have done in that field.
Irrespective of the political party you belong.
Yeah, political parties. Because the government promise, one of the major platforms that this present federal government campaigned on, security was a major thing there. And after 3.5 years, you should be able to tell Nigerians how far you've gone in trying to solve the problem of security. Yes, the government have done well. A lot of soldiers have lost their lives. We concede that. But to try to change the narrative to say, oh, this problem did not exist because we want to play politics, I think it's unfair. Let me just use that word.
Jide, he's saying, Mayor saying it is an unfair thing to say, but the governor reacting to said that the Senator Akume never wanted him to assent to the open grazing prohibition and ranches establishment law without giving a convincing reason. But then is this one of the reasons to accuse Akume as well of also being behind the killings?
Yeah, you see, the Akume didn't want that law to go into force because as far as he was concerned, he had not seen any plan in place, any real plan. If you are saying, okay, you are banning open grazing, for example, what is the alternative? For people who all their lives they've been used to grazing, that's the way they bred their cattle over the years. Okay, what is the alternative? A government doesn't just come up with a law. You must prepare the people for the alternative that you have. Where do they go? Which areas are few designated for these cattle breeders to use? Because that is their own means of livelihood. And when you take an action that appears to put someone's means of livelihood in danger, their blood will boil. So Akume felt at that time that, look, the time was not right. Remember that even the governor of Plateau also came out, criticized the idea. And as we speak today, even in Plateau, because Plateau too came up with the law, but they've not implemented it. Because you don't just go ahead and implement a law without planning sufficiently for the people that the law would affect. All their lives, this is the way they've done things.
But for the governor, he was trying to find a solution.
He was trying. No one is saying that I should not find a solution. But in finding a solution, you must get your tactics right, and the solution must also, in the way you present the solution, it must also appeal to all stakeholders. So this is the point of departure between both men, because on that day, even when he was reading that speech, Akume tried to stop him from saying that the law, I mean, the thing will go into effect and all that. He tried, probably because he felt that, look, this thing will lead to violence and all that. And we've had people say, look, you cannot say you are coming up with this law without thinking about how we will survive afterwards. Hundreds and thousands of people are involved in this business. So how do they get by? So I think that was the point of departure. But my own concern is that even as we speak now, you see some of the people around the president, they are damaging his chances of winning the election without knowing it, because they talk too much. Now, you look at the situation in Benue, things have normalized. The president sent the army and the air force, and they've calmed things down. When was the last time? I was following killings in Benue every day. But when was the last time that we had anything to report? When was the last time that a Nigerian newspaper carried the story of massacre in Benue? Because our armed forces sacrificed. They went there, many policemen were killed, soldiers killed, and they brought peace to that area. In the tradition of the Nigerian armed forces, what we think they can do, the way we've seen them do things in the past. So they've done it. Rather than praise them and say, oh, these gallant armed forces, they've done a fantastic job in Benue, they carried out the president's instruction, you are busy saying what really does not make any sense. Those guys have paid with their lives. They've restored peace to Benue. You can't now be telling us protracted violence. Where? When was the last time that there was violence? Or does the word protracted mean something different? It means something that is sustained. The killings in Benue, you can no longer say they are sustained, because we put an end to the killings. They no longer happen. Where you still find herdsmen and farmers still fighting these days is actually in Adamawa, and even that has gone down significantly. So we must say the truth the way it is, not to come and be saying, oh, it's the people. How do you, if a minister, somebody in the cabinet of President Buhari goes out to accuse Benue people that you are the ones killing yourselves, do you think they will be happy with that person?
That's why some of the
is it strategic
are saying that
in a political season to talk like this? Is it strategic?
That's why some of them are saying this is tantamount to hate speech. This, you can say this is.
I mean, if it is not true, it's hate speech, and they don't need it. Praise the army for doing an excellent job. Praise the Air Force for doing an excellent job. I've read the governor of Benue, who was criticizing the federal government some months back. I've read him praise and thank the president because peace has been restored in the state. We know that now. And it came with loss of lives. They killed the people who are causing the violence. They killed a lot of them. Now they restore peace to the place. Instead of praising them, you are now Amechi and Akume, they are now saying something that is really far from the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say that it's bad strategy. Bad strategy in the sense that, you know, Amechi is, I don't know where they're still going to tell him, but the Director General of the President's campaign.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, I think the strategy that he was trying to do is to change the narrative, which I think is a bad strategy. Like Jide said, what he should have done is to sell the idea that, look, there was problem in Benue.
Even before we came to power.
Yes, even before we came to power. And we have been able to solve the problem. It should have been a plus for them on the security side.
Yes.
That's what should have done. But sometimes our leaders, they're used to lying to us. They believe that if they say something, it is different from the reality on ground, as if we don't know the reality on ground. But that's why I say it's a bad strategy. That will not change that narrative. No, rather, it will make things difficult because you see, now in Benue, there's a major thing because Akume is like the godfather in Benue. And in this case, I think to side with him, not Tom.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
No, I'm not talking about the speech that I made
for
the grazing law.
Okay.
You see, because some of the mistakes that leaders make, if there is a problem, we should not think that if we close our eyes, that problem will disappear. It is a reality that there are some people in Benue who need grazing land. The governor, in his wisdom and maybe by his people, believe that we don't want to allow these people to graze on our land. But you cannot stop something that has been on forever. The best thing to do is to call all the stakeholders and try to see how everybody will give and take. If we think the problem will just, because part of the problem that this client was that there was problem people who need to survive. You see, when you, self-preservation is the first law of nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you do something that affects my interests, I have no choice but to fight back.
My livelihood.
Yes, because that's the major problem. So if you want to take somebody's livelihood, which they've been doing in that area for a long time, the most reasonable thing to do is to call everybody to a round table and see how it could be done. Thinking that you can solve that problem by fiat is naive, because that problem will not go away. That's the reality. It will not go away because those guys have to survive.
Of course.
Yeah, that's why I said I agree that certain things have to be done. You cannot by fiat stop people from doing what they've been doing, from doing their means of life for what that they've been doing for generations.
Yes.
It won't work.
And so because of all of this, some of the social-cultural group in the states now believe that the government is not sincere in its fight against the insecurity, especially in the state and the country as a general.
As far as I'm concerned, from the evidence on ground, they've dealt with the security problem in Benue. That is a fact. I was there. I know how things were when I went there. Tension everywhere. But today, there is peace in Gwe West and Logo especially. So, because they concentrate, those are the two most fertile local governments in Nigeria. So, you cannot fail to admit that peace has been restored. And it involved dozens of our servicemen. The Air Force sent their elite special forces. So when we record successes in some of these areas, we tend to gloss over the fact that some people sacrificed to make that success happen. And our politicians are people that I find difficult to describe. So rather than praise the people who have restored peace, you are trying to play politics and say, oh, this is this person, is that person. Before even your term became governor, there had been clashes between farmers and herdsmen in Benue. It's always been there. I was looking at a 1974 newspaper. In 1974, I think Daily Times, and I saw it. So some of the problems that we have, banditry,
I've been with them.
They've been with us for ages.
Yes.
Buhari did not create these problems. He met those problems. And there are many problems that he met that he too will leave them behind. It's just like being a governor of Lagos State. No matter how good you are, you can't solve all the problems. You can only do your bit and go. That's it, no matter how good you are. So this is the thing. Peace has been restored. That is a plus for the government. And the government has to be able to drive that message home that, look, I promised you that I will restore peace to your land. I've been able to do it. So the government then now needs to talk to some of the people around the president who do not really know when to open their mouths. They have to be able to put a rein on their mouths, button up their mouths when it is necessary to do so. Because some of the things that they say, without knowing it, they are demarketing demand. Without knowing it. Because I know I'm emotional about this Benue thing, not just because I went there I felt the pain of the people. If the people make all kinds of comments, they are reluctant to go to dangerous areas. We can't go to places, feel what the people are suffering, and then you come and be telling us lies. No, we can't. There's no way we will enjoy listening to your lies. So this is the situation. Peace restored in that area. Peace restored in Taraba. Nobody is killing anybody in Mambila anymore. Peace restored in that area. You can talk about what you have achieved rather than all this needless head banging on the wall.
All right.
It's
Perhaps,
needless.
like he said, driving home the point to all of those, whether the social cultural leaders will be the next thing for the government to do. How should they go about that?
Yes, I agree with that. But also, in politics, the other side, because you see, Otom is in PDP now. So the elements of PDP there will want to create the impression that the security situation has not improved. It is in their interest.
No, they are admitting it. The governor came out and thanked the president.
Yes, I know. What I'm saying
He's
is that yes, I know he said that. But you see, as we move towards the election time, it is they will want to, some elements within that opposition will want to say that. That is why the federal government has to be focused in information dissemination. It's important for them, instead of wasting their time trying to create a crisis, let them focus on what they have done.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, when we return, Atiku Saraki moved to pacify Ekwere Madu. Stay with us. Well, the age-long description of politics as a vocation where there are no permanent enemies nor, well, permanent friends appears suited for crop of politicians in Nigeria. The strained relationship between Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is giving the party hierarchy sleeplessness. But with the 2019 elections drawing closer, fence-mending moves to right the wrong is on. Senate President Bukola Saraki, PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, and other party bigwigs are making frantic efforts to persuade Ekweremadu to remain in the party. Atiku, Saraki, and PDP National Chairman Uche Secondus appealed to Ekweremadu during a meeting in Abuja not to feel alienated by the party after he was snubbed for the vice presidential slot. Will he stay? Will he not stay? Appears to be the question. Jide, remember he led a courtesy visit to the president some days or some weeks ago, and it said it had nothing to do with 2019. Well, perhaps a move back to the APC might be in the offing.
Well, but he has denied that he has plans to go to the APC. It's denied. So I don't think that he will go to the APC for now. I do not see that happening.
Why?
Except if he wants to go without thinking of contesting. If he contests in Enugu State on the platform of the APC, he will lose the election. I just came back from Enugu not up to 3 weeks ago.
It's a PDP state.
It's a PDP state, through and through. And someone like Unamane, Chimaroke Unamane, is even back in the PDP now. They've given him, I think, a senatorial ticket also, you know, because for the governor who is there now, it's like their father. The structures of the PDP in the state, he actually owned. And he was governor for 8 years. So Enugu is PDP. If you step out, it's always difficult. If you move out of the mainstream and you want to contest, it will take a mighty effort for you to win. And don't forget, he's benefited tremendously. He's been in that Senate since God knows when. No one else has had the opportunity from his constituency to get into that Senate because he has literally owned that seat. So what really he wants, I do not know. he didn't tell anyone that he wants or he wanted to contest. He wanted to be on the ticket, to be running mate to Atiku. I think he just feels that, look, as the #1 Southeasterner,
that should have come to him automatically.
I should be in the know before certain decisions are taken. You know, for example, and he was not the only one who was displeased with how Peter Obi was chosen.
Yes.
Many of them, even governors, displeased because they felt that, look, you shortlisted candidates, and the people that you shortlisted, you didn't really give them a look in. The next thing, you just went and brought one man who speaks like a woman. So they were clearly not happy. He's not happy. He's still not happy. But I think that he would really weigh
his options.
Yes, before deciding. And the best thing for them to do is just to continue to get his buy-in for any decision that they want to take, because whether we like it or not, he's big in the PDP, he's big in government. So they have to get him. But I do not see him leaving the party. He will just be using that to bargain, to get them to take him seriously.
Mayor, what do you think he wants?
I'm shocked that this can even come up. It shows,
really?
Yes. It shows that our politicians don't have dignity. They don't care about serving the people. They are only interested in serving themselves. Ekweremadu is the biggest beneficiary of the collusion between PDP elements and Bukola Saraki that made Bukola Saraki president. While he was in the opposition party, for the first time, he became the deputy Senate president, which was one of the main things that made the party to be against Saraki.
So he has no reason to feel slighted that decisions are taken. He
has benefited, apart from the fact that he's a fifth-time senator, he became a deputy president. He became deputy president of the Senate against what should have happened. And the party was so angry with Saraki for giving the deputy president to the opposition party. The same person that was that beneficiary, and is still subsisting, is still benefiting. He's complaining that they did not consult him to pick. It's so ridiculous. It just shows that these people are so greedy and they have nothing to give the people. That's the truth.
Just about that.
Yes, Ekweremadu wanted to be running mate. Actually, he wanted to be, because he's one of those that were considered.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of those that was considered. And his plan then was that, oh, I'm the highest political person, deputy senate president. If I'm on the ticket, it's a strong PDP state, I'll be able to deliver. The Ebonyi guy too was scheming for it. Oh, Ebonyi has not been marginalized when you look at positions in the southeast, so it should come to us. And when coming to us means that, okay, the governor will be on that ticket. But for whatever reason, Atiku Abubakar decided to pick Obi. It is his prerogative. Yes, he has to get advice from the party, but the decision is his. That is how it works.
The final analysis.
Yes, the decision is his. So if he decides that he wants to pick somebody, yes, okay, you people could say, okay, we should have allowed us to sit down. But you know, in this game, if you sit down to say, look, Obi will not be picked, because it depends on who is influential among those who wants to take that decision. So apparently, so that they won't force his hand, he decided to pick Obi. So yes, you may complain to say, look, as a party leader, you should carry us along. That should not be an issue, because if you remember, there was a time like that he threatened that he was going to the camp to APC when they were in Dubai. And they had to try to make overtures to him to say, okay, just wait, let us come back, let us discuss this thing, we can discuss it. And what he's doing now is not honorable, because he's just using that to blackmail PDP. That delegation to the president
shouldn't have included him.
Yes, it's trying to send a message.
Have been the Southeast governors.
Yes, because the governor was going, he has no business being there, but they want to try to send a message to say, oh, okay, you people, we are going to give APC that platform there. That is the message. That's why they are talking to
frightening them.
Yeah, that's why it's frightening them, because they just believe that, oh, we've not gotten over Akpabio.
And you.
And this one
too wants to now say, okay, he wants to go to APC. That's why they are trying to tell you to say, oh, what is the problem? Because look, you are the deputy president of the Senate. So what is the problem?
What else do you want?
Yes. So, but that is the way an average Nigerian politician thinks. They don't they don't care about us. It's about them. It's what is in this thing for me.
So you think he wouldn't leave the party as well?
He cannot, because you see, if he leaves the party, he will destroy himself politically. In fact, he has nothing to gain. You see, because look, if you are made king in a community, and you still complaining that I want more, they will ask you, you are the king. What else do you want?
He wants to take everybody.
He's the deputy Senate president. He's not the president of the Senate. He cannot be president now because he's not zoned to that place. So if you leave, what are you going to gain in APC? APC has nothing to offer you. They cannot offer you more than deputy Senate
Perhaps
president.
he has other options.
I don't know.
No, there's no other option. The only thing is that it could say, it could go to APC to say, okay, if APC wins in 2023,
these things are just
when
conjecture.
Yes, conjecture. That's what I'm saying.
We don't know what's really going on in his mind. Some of the things we read in the newspapers could actually even be exaggerated. He may not in the least be thinking of quitting. And he has said it that he has no plan to leave. I'm still in the PDP.
I believe so too.
I think that he will not leave. Sometimes you have to think of how strong that rival party is in your state before you take the plunge. Because you've seen people take the plunge, even governors took the plunge, entered another party, and they couldn't get re-elected. Malaka Chala, it happened to him in Borno. Yeah. He didn't get re-elected. He joined the Alliance for Democracy from ANPP. And they didn't get re-elected. So it happens. Muktari Shinkafi, Mahmouda Shinkafi, left the ANPP in Zamfara. He was governor, left the ANPP, moved to PDP. He was not re-elected.
Shimaroke Namani too?
No, Namani got 2 terms.
No, he wanted to run for, I think, Senate or somewhere.
So it is you will be taking a big risk to decamp from a party that is very strong in your state. It's just like someone in Borno State or even Yobe. Okay. You say you are leaving the APC, you are going to the PDP, you are decamping. How are you going to be elected? You won't be elected.
All right, let's move on now. Most times, it does not really matter whether one was pushed to taking action or not, as far as things get done. After the recent horrific killing of soldiers in Metele, Benue State by Boko Haram, President Muhammadu Buhari has rallied his troops for the task at hand, defeat of the insurgents. At the Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference in Maiduguri on Wednesday, President Buhari ordered the military to eliminate all threats of Boko Haram, declaring that the war against terrorism is, quote, a must-win. Mayor?
I feel for our security forces because fighting terrorists is not a tea party. Even in Afghanistan, America is still there. They will not be able to defeat the Taliban there. But I have a problem with our army. They have to learn from some mistakes. They made some mistakes. What? There was a time they had this onslaught and they were able to significantly denigrate these Boko Haram people. And they were able to control some part of the Sambisa. Instead of them to calm down, strategize how they can contain them and try to push them to an area where they will be able to dominate. They were so excited. They presented a flag to the president and they said war was over, or practically so. And we've seen that was a major mistake. 2, what happened recently is so unfortunate. But why I'm surprised is that if you are an army and you want to locate a base somewhere, you must be able to dominate that environment. For you to move a base there, you must have put so many things into consideration. Sure. And immediately you decide that you're going to have a base here, you must be able to take over that base. Second, you must be able to have, because now modern warfare, the Air Force play a major role in modern warfare. In fact, the Air Force place Mount Iruka Road and the army sometimes just need to go and mop up. So I think there should have been a synergy between the Air Force and the army. For the Boko Haram people to come and kill so many of our soldiers and humiliate us that way shouldn't have happened. So mistakes were made, but we must not lose the fact that these people are in a war that is very difficult to win. And a lot of our soldiers have made supreme sacrifice. So, and we have to appreciate that. We have to appreciate it. But everything that is needed for us to be able to prosecute this war, the government must provide it for our soldiers. We have strong soldiers. We have brilliant soldiers. We have proven that over time, even in serious war situations, in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, we'll be able to prove that we could do things. They must not allow our soldiers to be humiliated by Boko Haram. Because you see, one of the things that we must put into consideration, when ISIS failed during their caliphate in Syria and Iraq, a lot of the foreign soldiers who used to come from everywhere to come and fight for ISIS, a lot of them have moved away. Yeah. And some of them are now with Boko Haram. Some of them are with them because these people are nomadic soldiers who move in fighting for ISIS. So when they were able to fight ISIS in Syria and in other parts of Iraq, they moved to other locations. And we should not forget that Boko Haram is an affiliate of ISIS. And a lot of them have moved to Africa, to Boko Haram and El Shabaab. So we are now fighting people who are not only very, very experienced when it comes to war, they have enough resources. We should not forget that ISIS used to run a caliphate. They used to have a lot of income. They used to have oil. They used to have so many things. So they still have some funds. And then some of us, because maybe through kidnapping, through robbery, through things, they'll be able to earn some money. So they have equipments too. Yeah. So we must find a way of making it difficult for people to be able to come to a base and run over. It used to happen a lot, and I don't understand why that should happen. Because if you situate a base somewhere, you must be able to dominate that environment.
All right. Well, Jude, the president is saying this war is a must-win, and he is ready to provide with equipment all that they need. But then, beyond the equipment, do we have the capacity to really, really finish off this war?
Yeah, by the nature of the war, it's not easy to finish it off the way we are talking about it. I'm happy that the president now realizes that this is a much more difficult war to win than earlier thought. He's been told in the past that the war had been won. He's been told in the past that there's no Nigerian territory in Boko Haram's hands, which is a lie from the pit of hell. And the president has had to go abroad to even say that. Boko Haram still holds Nigerian territory. So this is a fact. And Boko Haram does not allow us to even operate in some areas. Some areas, Garanda, Zari, Metele, they don't want us. If you put troops there today, they will come, harass those troops, and chase them away. So there are places that we've now decided to stop deploying troops because of constant attack. When you attack the troops like 2, 3, 4 times and they suffer setbacks, only a wicked commander will not want to sit down and re-strategize. So I'm happy the president is talking about weapons. Good weapons will really give us an edge in this war. We are using obsolete weapons, obsolete by today's standards. We can't be using T-12. T-12, a battle tank, manufactured between 1925 and 1931. No, that's not good for us. We need to get better parts. We need to get better equipment. Some people are using general purpose machine gun. We are using AK-47. AK-47 was designed 11 years before Nigeria's independence. Go and look at the rifles that the Americans use, even the range of the rifle. Yes, you can say AK-47 is very durable in our kind of environment. You can use it in the desert anywhere. It doesn't jam. easily like other rifles. But the kind of weapons that will give us technological edge, they are the weapons that we should go for. I heard the chief of army staff saying there is no army that can get all the weapons that it needs.
Correct.
It's correct, but Nigerian army is too far away from the weapons that it needs.
Yeah.
How many Mi-35, for example, do we have? I talked about even Sudan. You get to Khartoum, the ground attack helicopters that you see at the airport alone, up to 50. We do not have that much. Even drones. How many of our drones today, the drones that the Air Force uses to take out Boko Haram tanks and all that, how many of them are serviceable? There are things that we can't say on air because of the privileged information that we have that we can't talk about. But those listening to me ought to know that it is in our best interest to finish off these guys. And we can't finish them off without increasing the troop strength in the Northeast. Is one reason why it's convenient for Boko Haram to send like 400 troops to an army base, because they know they will outnumber the people that you have there. Once they are outnumbered, they will take to their heels. Yes. It's as simple as that, so that they can fight another day. Just any time the army talks about, okay, we lost 16 soldiers here, always read how many soldiers are missing. You see that in some cases it could be 150 missing. Missing does not necessarily mean that they are dead. Yeah. They took to their heels so that they can fight another day. It makes no sense when you see a Boko Haram guy pointing an AA at you. Aircraft, this thing that is used to bring down, and the AA is used to bring down aircraft. Someone is pointing an AA at you. It's not meant to shoot human beings, but Boko Haram uses it to gain advantage. Boko Haram uses mortar-propelled grenades to gain advantage. They use it. I saw the video of the attack in Zari. I saw them firing RPG at our tents. So if you had like 10 soldiers in the tent, they are all gone. Because within a 40-meter radius, if you fire an RPG, it will kill everybody within that 40-meter radius. That is the thing. We need the right weapons. We need to protect these guys against the enemy. If they don't have the right weapons, we are talking about the need for them to go on the offensive. I've always said that on this program, and I'm happy that the chief of army staff said they are now going to go on the offensive. In fact, as we speak, they are in Maiduguri strategizing with his commanders on how to now go on the offensive. But you can only go on the offensive if you have the right equipment and you have enough troops to dominate the area. You cannot. People talk about the Air Force. Sometimes the impact of the Air Force in a war is exaggerated, because the Air Force can stay in the air, do 1 million bombing sorties. You must put troops on ground.
Yes.
If you don't put troops on ground, those guys will come back. I know places that the Air Force has bombed repeatedly. I know islands in the Lake Chad basin that the Air Force has bombed repeatedly. Yet these guys are still there. Why? Once you leave, they come back.
That's what I'm saying. The strategy,
because you don't have enough troops. You see, in Sambisa, I went to Sambisa, both alone and with the Air Force. And I can tell you that Sambisa is 6.5% of the entire Nigerian land space. You've not got the army that can police Sambisa. You've not got enough soldiers. Even Algeria, with so many soldiers, they cannot police the entire Sambisa. So Boko Haram knows that. So the ISR team continues to pinpoint areas where they stay in Sambisa. They bomb those places, but they still come back because you will not put troops deep into those areas. You need the troops to protect people in communities where we have people. But what do we even have now? You go to Abadam local government, a lot of our people have fled into Niger Republic. 70% of those communities, people are not living in them. That is the bitter, the painful reality of this war. There are Nigerian senators, I talked about even House of Reps members, who today can't go to their towns. They've not been able to go to their towns for years because nobody's living in them. Will you risk your life and go to Malam Fatori, for example?
But the president is meeting with the heads of the government of the Lake Chad Basin Commission.
Which is a very, you know, they did it initially.
Yeah.
When we went on offensive, the first time, when the government first came in, part of the thing that I heard was this kind of meeting. There was a meeting and there was a joint force between Cameroon, Niger, Chad, and ourselves. Yeah. Because what Boko Haram is doing, which is smart, because it is a guerrilla warfare, is to move from these areas. When you overpower them, yeah, they retreat, they move to the neighboring something, especially in the mountain area or the Chad area. They stay there, reorganize, and then come make surprise attack and all that. So it is important that everybody must, because everybody is very involved, but we seem to suffer more along with Cameroon because of the nature of Nigeria. So they attack us more. But everybody must come together to be able, because it is at the border points that these people move around.
Yeah.
And we must be able to
smuggle their
yes, must be able to make it difficult for them with joint patrols to make sure that they don't move around. But again, it is important that, I want to come back to, that the government must do something about the Biafra, and I'll tell you why. Normally, if you have a base, it should not be easy for people to be able to access that base. Then secondly, when there must be a rapid squad, Air Force squad, helicopter squad, that must be able to give backup when you are under attack. It must not be easy for people to, because like you said, how many soldiers can you put on ground? So even if I put 200 soldiers in a base and they come with 400 soldiers, they will overwhelm us, because it's easy to start shelling my base from afar.
The truth is, the Air Force has saved the army so many times.
So it is important for us to be able to have a rapid squad that must be able to dig back up.
Some of these spontaneous attack, you send for the army. Look at that battle, the battle of Zari. It didn't even last more than 30 to 40 minutes. It was all over. So within that time, you send for the Air Force. Maybe before they got there, those guys are gone. You see, this is the nature of the attacks. They don't. It's not as if they will stay there for so long. In some cases, yes, it lasts long, but there are attacks on the army. When they attack a community, they can stay there for long, stealing food and all that. But when they attack the army base, it's usually fast. They steal the weapons that they want to steal, and then they run away. And the attacks are simultaneous. Look, just yesterday, as the president was in Maiduguri, Boko Haram, the Shekau faction, was attacking another community. So they are keeping us busy. And all those countries, people say they are not helping us. They too have their problems with Boko Haram. Boko Haram is active in those countries. They bomb people in Cameroon, in Niger, they kidnap 15 women. They are active in those countries. So it's like you have your problem, I have my problem. So it's a terrible thing. It's an international terrorist group.
For them to come together to be able to.
No, they are together.
Yes.
They are together, but in spite of that, look, today, the Cameroon and Nigeria, they are doing joint patrols in Bama and other areas.
Well, gentlemen, we've run out of time, but I must thank you for the discussions so far on the various topics. Well, that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. And you can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms, showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Veronica Danik Boy. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.
You see,